I don't know about you guys, but I'm always trying to make schemes, man. I'm always trying to make trades in fantasy football. And in this video, we're going to be talking about my favorite wide receiver trade targets. Maybe this gives you the confidence to hold them if you do already have them. Let's get into this video. All right, we got to talk about George Pickens at the top of this video, man. He is the most requested player. The Discord community has been talking about him quite a lot. I know I'm going against a lot of the other fantasy football people, but I think you should hold him or trade for him, actually. CeeDee Lamb is coming back most likely in week 7. The Cowboys are currently number 3 in total points, as well as points per game, obviously. Number 1 in total yards, number 2 in passing yards, 32nd in yards allowed, so their defense is absolutely horrendous, and 31st in points allowed. Lady and gentlemen, this is the 2025 Cincinnati Bengals, dude. The Cowboys did what a lot of us thought they would be. As soon as they traded Micah Parsons, it was green light, dude. All offensive weapons for the Cowboys. We probably should have been drafting Javonte Williams a lot higher, but CeeDee Lamb is coming back this week, so a lot of people are wondering whether they should be trading George Pickens away. He had 29 fantasy points in week 4, 12 in week 5, and then 27 in week 6. He looked absolutely amazing, dude. He looked like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Here are my thoughts, man. Unless your league mates are living in North Korea, they just discovered the internet as well as porn, they know he's coming back. They know CeeDee Lamb is going to come back. They're not going to buy him at his cost. You might be wanting to sell him at a top 12 value, but I don't think your league mates are going to be that dumb to do that. So they're going to lowball you, right? They're going to give you like top 24 value for Pickens, knowing he's probably going to fall off. And I want to stop you guys from doing that, man. Do not sell him for less than what he's worth. Now, listen, if you can get like legitimate top 12 value for him, then yeah, pull the trigger. Obviously, if you can get like a Nico Collins, if you can get Puka with the injury issue, maybe in like a package deal, obviously, then yeah, obviously do it, man. I'm not trying to stop you guys from selling high, none of that. But I just want to question, man, why would you sell an asset who is clearly supremely talented on the league's best offense? It's something that it just gives me a bad taste in my mouth, man, knowing you're going to be selling a guy who's just going to be eating the rest of the season, even with Lamb coming back. All right, I want to show you guys this tweet from David Gautieri. In the 4 games without CeeDee Lamb, 34% first read target share, 24 points per game. He's the wide receiver 1 in that span, 17.5 expected points. So he's actually outperforming what his expectations are at the moment. And in the 2 games with CeeDee Lamb, he's down to 18% first read, 11 points per game. That's wide receiver 33, 11.3 expected, right? So he was performing at expectation. He was underperforming. I think a lot of it has to do with week 1, man. He only had 4 targets. He went 3 for 30. He had a poor week 1. Week 2 is a little bit better. He gets 9 targets, 5 for 68. He gets a touchdown. Now, a lot of people want to sell Pickens because they're just saying, all right, he's going to go back to his wide receiver 33 usage. Lamb's going to come back. But dude, I want to challenge that. Do we think that Lamb coming off a high ankle sprain, which is not a friendly injury for a guy who's shifty like a CeeDee Lamb, right? Like, what if both players just kind of hover at the 15 points per game range? What if it's just that Pickens was slow out of the gate in that week 1. That's why the points per game were low. And CeeDee Lamb was just running hot, dude. Let's look at CeeDee Lamb's game log. 13 and 11 targets. He goes 9 for 112, 7 for 110. He was looking great, dude. He didn't get any touchdowns. He was looking great. We knew that things were going to turn around from the touchdown department. And then he gets the injury, man. And one more thing I do want to mention, man, is that in those 2 games, in weeks 1 and 2, when it comes to red zone targets, Pickens had 4 red zone targets with 1 touchdown. It came in week 2. To Lamb, who had only 1 red zone target, completely 1 red zone target. He was absolutely feasting between the 20s. Like, once they got into the red zone, they were kind of force feeding the ball to Pickens, man. He had 4 red zone targets in 2 weeks. Like, that is just kind of the hypothesis. That's why I think when Lamb and Pickens are on the field together, Lamb is going to be the dominant force between the 20s, similar to Puka Nacua, man. Think about Puka on this Rams offense. He's the guy that was feasting between the 20s, right? Once they get into the red zone, I think Adams has like 12 red zone targets on the season, which is absolutely horrible because he only has like 2 touchdowns. It's just, I don't know why the Rams are forcing it, but for the Cowboys, I think that's kind of the makeup. I think Lamb and Pickens can both hit that 16 points per game range, kind of similar to Chase and Higgins. Pickens maybe has a little bit more touchdown upside, while Lamb has much more like target volume and just yardage upside. That's how I think it could shake out. Maybe Pickens can even hit the like 90 yards per game, 100 yards per game, just based on how he's been performing, man. This is a Cowboys team. They're going to continue feasting. When we look at rest of season rankings, we see CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver 8. I think that's probably, he should probably be higher than that, to be honest. And Pickens is at wide receiver 11, man. So the hypothesis is this, man. It's kind of like the Family Guy meme, dude. Like, yes, there could be a boat in the box, but you already have a boat. You have a top 10 guy. And I think when CeeDee Lamb returns off the high ankle sprain, not being really a big red zone guy or a big touchdown guy, just stick with Pickens, man. I think you might even be able to buy him low at the moment. You can probably trade down. You can probably trade Devontae Adams down to Pickens, and I think it's probably an upgrade for you. If you guys need some help or you want some advice on your trades, hit the Discord link down below. Really dope community. We're talking about every single day. It's community driven, so people are going to give you help on your trades, give you advice on what you should do. It's a dope little growing community. All right, next player on the list is Terry McLaurin. Look, man, I want you guys to go to your league, check what the record of the McLaurin owner is. If he's like 2-4 or worse, send him some absolutely diabolical trade offers for McLaurin. He might see those first 3 weeks where he only had 3, 7, and 8 points and might be willing to move on from him, right? So JD5 is healthy. Bill is established. He's the lead back. Debo is doing his thing. He looks really great. Debo's actually outperforming Terry McLaurin. That's a part of the thesis as to why I think he's a buy low. And they just lost to the Chicago Bears. So this is a team where everybody's getting healthy. They're coming off a loss and they're hungry, dude. They're going to be playing against the Dallas Cowboys this week. This can be an explosion game. I want you guys to go out and buy Terry McLaurin. They're going to need him, man. They're going to need him because for those 3 weeks, dude, that he was not playing, this is a team that's been struggling, dude. The Commanders desperately need a down the field threat, man. They've really been piecing it together with a bunch of just random bust stop Magoos, man. So this team really needs McLaurin to come in, unlock the down the field stuff. I just want to show you guys his 2024 game log, dude. It's absolutely insane. The first 2 weeks, 2 and 5 points. And then after that, you are hard pressed to find a poor week, dude. There were like 2 bad weeks in the middle of it. I think in week 11 against Philadelphia, he had 1 fantasy point, and then again in week 17, he had 1 fantasy point. Sucks if you had him in the championship game and you had McLaurin. He only got you 1 point, but for the most part, he was a stud. He was absolutely fantastic after week 2. And I think there's no chance he's going to be bullshit the rest of the season, man. I really do think he's going to turn it around. We already saw him do it. He had 13 touchdowns last season. He's one of my favorite buy lows. I know it's going to be difficult to get him because, you know, people know he's coming back next week, so they're not going to want to sell him. It's kind of dumb when people say, like, buy this player the week before they return. Like, when people are saying to buy CeeDee Lamb, McLaurin, Rashee Rice, like, who's going to sell Rashee Rice right before he comes back? I know I'm kind of doing that with McLaurin, but the thing about McLaurin is that he hasn't produced, even when he was healthy. So that's why I think he's a buy low. Excuse me, I'm sorry if you guys do think that that's bullshit, but let's move it along now. Now we're going to talk about Jauan Jennings. Listen, I'm going to give you the case, man. He has 5 broken ribs, 20% healthy shoulder, high and low ankle sprains. He got into a fight with his head coach. Kendrick Bourne is looking like a stud. Pearsall and Kittle are coming back. This list never ends, dude. He poured a bowl of cereal today. He had no milk. Things are just not going his way, dude. Why am I recommending buying him? There was a report that came out this week from a beat reporter for the 49ers that the Giants are reportedly interested in Jauan Jennings. Malik Neighbors is out. You know, Slayton is out. Jackson Dart's looking great. Cam Scadwell's looking great. They're looking for some wide receiver help. Jennings is unhappy with his contract, and he got into a sideline argument, as this dude says in the tweet. So that is kind of the thesis. That's like one of the reasons why I like Jennings. I want to show you guys one more chart from Timbo Slice. Pass rate over expected. 49ers are right here next to the Bengals. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are absolutely insane. But the 49ers, they still have like almost a 2.5% over expected pass rate. So this is a team that's passing the ball a lot. They can't really run the ball. Maybe that changes when Kittle returns and they get, I mean, he's such an important part of the run blocking scheme that they have for the 49ers. He's one of the best run blocking tight ends. He's also one of the best receiving tight ends. Kittle is just absolutely phenomenal, but this is a team that I do think rest of the season is just going to be passing the ball quite a lot. Now, the reason that I'm saying you should go out and buy him, I know it sounds crazy because he's dealing with like 35 different injuries. The head coach was yelling at him on the sideline. Either he gets traded and his situation improves, or the 49ers like him enough to keep him, right? Like, let's say they don't trade him because they want him and they want to use him. And we saw what he was able to do last season when he was like kind of the starter. He was averaging like 8 targets a game, dude. I know Pearsall wasn't really, you know, that solidified yet, but he had some big games, dude. Early in the season, he has that 41-point game where he has 3 touchdowns, showed like the upside of what he's capable of. At the end of the day, I just think he's going to be a vital part of this offense moving forward. I believe the 49ers are 4-2, so they're still in the hunt, dude. They can still win this division. They're going to need Jennings, and if they don't need him and they trade him, his situation improves. So either way, I think his situation is just going to get better. And the last point I do want to make for Jauan Jennings is that he's just so damn cheap. He's essentially a cut candidate on some fantasy football channels right now. So if you can go out there, get him, dude, trade a room temperature tuna sandwich for him, get him as like a throw-in in like a multiplayer trade. That's the type of player that I want to take swings on, man. I want a guy like Jennings who has upside. He's on a team that wants to pass the ball a lot. I think he's somebody that if I had him on my bench and I'm scared to start him for the time being, perfect. I don't mind. I don't mind holding him, keeping him. He has way more upside than your random like Kayshawn Booties and your John Franklins and your Chingus McDinguses and your bust stop Magoos. So go after Jauan Jennings, man. He's just so damn cheap at the moment. Which leads us to big dick sticky Ricky Pearsall, man. He was leading the NFL in yards in the first 3 weeks. He looked absolutely fantastic. He went 4 for 108 in week 1, 4 for 56 in week 2, then 8 for 117 in week 3. Gets injured in week 4. He had 15 expected fantasy points a game. He only scored about 13 a game, as you guys can see in week 2. He kind of had a down week, and he didn't have any touchdowns. A lot of touchdowns were just going all over the 49ers. A bunch of different players were scoring in those first couple weeks. And again, I want to show you guys the passing rate over expected. It's weeks 3 to 6. Thank you again to Timbo Slice. Right next to the Bengals and the Rams, they pass the ball more than expected. There's a team that's going to be pass friendly. It's the same exact thesis for Jauan Jennings, except I think Ricky Pearsall is much more solidified as the wide receiver 1 here for this team. I really do believe he's going to be the bona fide number 1 guy, 8 to 9 targets a game, rest of the season. He's going to be the downfield guy. He was making massive plays, dude. Absolutely massive plays down the field. Now, the problem with Ricky Pearsall, or what people say is the problem, George Kittle's coming back. That's going to bring stability to the run game. They're going to be running the ball a lot more. And maybe George Kittle steals targets, right? From Pearsall, from Jennings, from Bourne. I think personally that a lot of CMC's targets are going to funnel back toward Kittle. Not only the targets themselves, but also the fact that Kittle is going to be able to run block, which means CMC is just going to be running the ball a lot more, which means he's not going to be getting as many targets. That's just a weird little hypothesis that I have. It'll like hurt CMC, but also help him. But I think it'll be a net negative because obviously targets are much more valuable. But nevertheless, I think Ricky Pearsall is going to be locked in for like 8 targets a game. He's going to have the downfield explosive stuff. The yards per catch are going to be high for him. They're going to be above like 12, 13 every game, I believe. And when we look at rest of the season rankings, man, I think a lot of the experts agree he's at currently wide receiver 23 at the moment. He's stuck here between DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, Quentin Johnston, Jameson Williams. The way that I see it, when it comes to upside, when it comes to the pass rate over expected, the fact that this 49ers team is putting up points. Remember, they beat the Rams and they put up quite a lot of points with Mac Jones, with Kendrick Bourne. This is a very competent offense, man. We know that Shanahan's systems are great. I trade Quentin for him straight up. I trade Jameson Williams for him. I trade Marvin Harrison straight up for him. I trade Zay Flowers straight up for Ricky Pearsall. I know that might sound crazy. Cortland Sutton? Would you trade Cortland Sutton straight up for Ricky Pearsall? I might do it, dude. But obviously, 1-for-1 trades are probably not how a lot of people operate. They usually want to make like 2-for-2s and stuff. So make sure you guys join the Discord, dude. Put your trade in. If you have like a 2-for-2 or 3-for-2, you need a second opinion, you need some help. Make sure you guys throw that into the Discord. Many people will be happy to help you, including myself. So we end this list with Brian Thomas Jr. Listen, man, I've had BTJ on this list of buy candidates since Vietnam. The window might still be open. I know he's been looking a lot better the last couple weeks, but people might want to sell high. They might want to see that 19-point explosion, or not really an explosion, that 19-point game, and be like, all right, time to get off. I'm going to sell him high now while I can. I don't want any part of him. I saw what he did the first 4 weeks. And look, man, at the end of the day, people just kind of have a sour taste in their mouth, man. If somebody doesn't perform well those first like 2 or 3 weeks when everybody's hyped, dude, you draft your team, you had such high expectations on your players, they don't perform. It sticks with you, man. You refuse to kind of see the upside. You refuse to see them turn it around. Imagine all the people who did sell McLaurin last year, like I mentioned, dude, in 2024 after weeks 1 and 2. But back to Brian Thomas Jr., I want to show you guys a couple tweets here. This is Joe Orico. Week 6, season highs at 90 receiving yards, 8 catches, and a touchdown. Top 10 among wide receivers in expected fantasy points. And if Travis Hunter wasn't the worst fucking wide receiver in the NFL and didn't even know how to line up, he would have had like a 30-point game, man. He would have had like another 11 points off that super long bomb touchdown where it kind of like deflects off the defender. He juggles it a little and runs into the end zone. It would have been an 11-point play. He would have had 30 points, dude, and it would have been a completely different tune. We'd be say Brian Thomas is back, dude. He's him. He's like, top 10 rest of the season, but Travis Hunter ruins the fun for us. Here's another tweet from Kev Monsersin. I don't know what his name is. Brian Thomas Jr. this season, weeks 1 to 2, 19 targets, 5 receptions, 60 yards. He was dog shit. Weeks 3 to 6, 29 targets, 19 receptions, 274 yards. Obviously gets the touchdown called back off penalty. Are we back? Kevin Monson Johnson? Yes. I think we are back, man. I think we might be back. They're playing the Rams this week, who they have a really good all-around defense, but they've been carved up by some players, man. Specifically Kendrick Bourne carved them up down the field, right? It's their secondary. It's the Rams secondary that might be their weakness if they did have one. And looking at rest of the season rankings, I'm very happy to see that Brian Thomas is back in the top 12 rest of the season. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm so happy I bought him back in like week 3. Unfortunately, I sold Chase to get him. I also got another piece with Brian Thomas, but still, I'm kind of having buyer's remorse there. Chase looks like he's going to be fine. I still think these past 2 weeks are a little bit fluky, but nevertheless, what would I do to get Brian Thomas Jr.? Would I trade Devontae Adams for him? I think I would personally do that. There's one small issue with Brian Thomas Jr. He has kind of a tough schedule rest of season, specifically in the playoffs, man. I want to show you guys this. I heard this on, I think, CBS, on the CBS Fantasy Show. They play in week 15 the Jets. That's going to be Sauce Gardner. Then week 16, they get Pat Surtain and the Broncos. Then in week 17, they get Indianapolis, who they don't really have a standout corner, but they have a good defense in general. So that is something that's a little bit concerning. If we're already going to start looking ahead at rest of season or like playoff schedules, that concerns me, right? Now, at the end of the day, I want to get to the playoffs. I think he can really help us get to the playoffs. They have a bunch of easy games, man. Vegas, Chargers, Arizona, Tennessee. They have some easy games on the schedule. A couple also difficult ones leading up to the playoffs. Obviously, they got Houston, which is kind of a tough one. Chargers are a little bit tough, but I really do think that Brian Thomas can kind of overcome tough matchups. He's so fast. He's so big. He's so good. Unfortunately, he just doesn't look very good at the catch point at the moment, which is kind of concerning when you're going up against like good standout corners. They're good at getting their hands in your balls and smacking them away. Pause. So I don't know, man. I just think Brian Thomas Jr., he has so much upside on this offense. This offense looks really good, man. The Liam Cohen led Jaguars just look like a competent offense finally. Like, if you're a Jags fan, man, you must feel pretty good to have Liam Cohen around. He just improved the offense so much. That does it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for giving me your time. I truly, genuinely do appreciate it. We finally hit 2K subs. It's been a long journey, man, a long road, but I want to thank everyone, thank all the Discord fans and everyone who likes the show. Again, Discord link down below. You guys can join the Discord. It's a nice, growing community. We're talking ball every single day in there, man. We're helping each other out with sit starts. It's actually a pretty sharp community, I will say, man. Thank you to all you guys for showing up to the live streams, showing up on the Discord, for chatting all the time. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.